In this video, I want to show you the new SPSyn Google Analytics resource type. So this video actually has two parts to it. First is the simple walkthrough of how it works, and I'll show you all you need to set it up. And the second part is targeted more at developers that want to look and see some of the advanced features of that resource type that is possible to create using the SPSyn framework. So on this site, I have a plain SharePoint team site. There's nothing here except I have activated the SPSyn settings. And by the way, if you want to download that Google Analytics resource type, it's available on the SPSyn homepage. It's part of the SPSyn 1.1 release. So you can just download it and you'll install it like any other WSP file as part of or any other resource type WSP file. There's also source code available here if you want to inspect what actually goes on under the hood. But to the sort of the end user, what you'll do is you'll go into your SPSyn Manage Resources link, and then you'll go to the Items menu, and you'll notice that when you have a clean install, you don't have that Google Analytics resource type available. So to activate it, you simply go into Site Settings and you go to Manage Site Features. You'll see that you now have a feature called SPSyn Google Analytics Setup. So this will basically take care of all of the setup for you. So simply by activating this feature, we can now go back into our site settings and manage resources. In the Items tab, you'll now find your Google Analytics resource type available. And the only thing you need to do to set this up, you'll add a new resource type, and then you'll type in a name for the resource, and then you'll add your Google Analytics UID. And you'll find that if you log into Google Analytics, and you'll find that UID is formatted like UA and a dash, and then there are some numbers, and then there's a dash and a second number. And as I said, you can sign up for Google Analytics on I think it's analytics.google.com. It's free, and it gives you these codes that you can use then to track users all across your site. So after you have entered a name, and you may want to set up filtering or evaluation orders if you're using that, then you just add your Google Analytics UID and you hit save, and that's basically all you need to do to set up Google Analytics for your site. So if you now just view the source here, you'll see that the Google Analytics tracking code is already present here. And obviously, as I said, you can filter this so you only track certain pages on your site or however you want to use it. So the second thing I want to show here, and this is sort of where the developers might find more interest, and maybe even some end users, but the resource type is actually built to show off some of the scalability of using a framework like SPSyn. So essentially what happens here, if I start by making some mistakes here, I've added some user interaction that will make it easier for people to pick up if they make any kind of mistake here. So I'll just delete the default one that I created here that works. Now I want to add a new one, but I want to make some mistakes here. First, I want to add just a name for it. I'm not going to add a UID at all. So what will happen then is that we now get a warning saying that, you have configured or we set up a Google Analytics resource, but you haven't added this UID. So you basically need to go configure that resource. And this will follow only site administrators across, if you are part of the site owners group or if you are a site admin. Then you'll see this message, and no end users will see this. And if you now go to any page on the site, you'll see that you have this warning here, and there's a link to configure the resource. So now we can go in and we can basically we can either click on it, and it will basically detect that we are now on one of these resource types that are in a faulty state, and it will detect this. So if you had multiple versions, you had the two different Google Analytics resources set up, it would actually track the correct one, so it will give you the correct error message, and then sort of so you don't get this error message on other pages. And you'll see that it's also slightly different in color and stuff like that. So now it gives you the message saying that you need to add or edit the item. You'll also see that when you click edit item, you'll actually see that it actually changes the error message to give you instructions on how you want to do this. So let's say now that we change this and we add a valid value, as you saw earlier. Now it will basically, the error message will disappear and it won't show up anymore. And there's some other options or other error detection mechanisms as well. Obviously, this is a strict format. So what you can do, and especially if you're using versions of SharePoint that don't do column validation, you basically have no way of controlling this. So if you make a mistake here, let's say that we add an extra character at the end here. What this will basically say that, well, there's a problem with the UID you have entered. The correct format is UA-XXX-XX, where the X represents a number, and you have set it to something else. So now we can still go in, and we can see this, that you know, there's a problem with the formatting here. We want to edit the item to correct it. Now we can just go in and we can change it into a value that is valid. Obviously, it doesn't detect that this is actually a faulty value, because we have no way of checking what your actual UID would be. But essentially, this is now a valid UID in terms of formatting, at least. So if you now save this, you'll see again that the error messages go away. So that's how you use the Google Analytics resource type in SPSyn. So, and as I said, it's freely available. Go to spsyn.com and you can download it from the releases. It is under the 1.1 release.